Hey, welcome back to the channel. So if you've ever felt like you're caught living two different lives, your current reality, which is caught up with bills and routines and habits and the I'll start next Monday kind of patterns, and then your future reality, which you've pinned on your vision board and you're dreaming about with the ideal partner and the ideal body and the ideal home with all this abundance of money that you get to say yes to the opportunities that you want. And here you are in this gap between where you are and where you want to get to, and you don't know what to do. And so in this video, I want to share with you some practical steps of how to keep up the belief and the motivation to keep going even when the gap feels so big, how to actually collapse the difference between where you are and where you want to get to. Plus, I'm going to share with you some key things that I did that drastically changed things for me in my life in order to get from where I was to exactly where I wanted to be. So what do you do when your current life and your current habits just do not reflect the version of you and the life that you want to manifest? So here's something that no one will tell you. The version of you that got you to where you are today, love them, be grateful for them, but they are not the version that's going to take you to that next step, that's going to take you to the vision board pinned on your wall right now. I remember back when I was living in London, waking up one day and just looking around my apartment that was so cluttered, not just physically cluttered, but emotionally, mentally cluttered too. I had these sticky notes on every single window and every mirror saying about my 10K goal and all the different financial dreams I had. But when I looked around, there was nothing in the environment that actually reflected the reality I wanted to create. I was doing the exact same things as I had been doing for the past 12 months, eating the same foods, going to the same restaurants, hanging out with the same people, watching the same Netflix shows, right? I was continuing to live the same kind of life all the time while having my mind focused on a different reality. And that's when it really hit me. I was trying to build this new, exciting reality with the same old identity that got me to where I am. Now, I really want to emphasize here as you go on this journey and as we go through this video, please be loving and kind to yourself and give yourself so much love, because that version of me that got me to that point, how courageous, how amazing have they been, right? So love them. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with them. They're not broken or anything like that. But the habits, the thought patterns, the emotions, living in that identity are not aligned with where you want to go anymore. They got you to where you are, they won't get you to where you want to go. And that's what we need to really shift and actually change as you're going through this video, and you'll learn how in order to step into that next level for yourself. Now, the brutal truth is you can't manifest your $1 million life while still living on autopilot in your old identity. So what I did that really helped me was do a complete 360 audit of my life, looking at all the different aspects of my life, from my environment, from how I dressed, from who I spent time with, from where I went, how I spent my time, the media I was consuming, all of it. And really began to assess, okay, what's working? What do I think I'll keep with me in my future identity, and what needs to go? What thoughts, patterns, habits, beliefs, people perhaps, what needs to go? So I did this brilliant audit, and then I started to make changes. Now, not all at once. This isn't about lighting a flame to your past self or past life and burning it all down in one quick go. It's about making small, sustainable changes, and sometimes quickly, right? So you might be adding in 2 new changes this week, 2 new changes next week, depending on the kind of person you are. I'm someone who, I get an idea, I want to take action, I want to go, right? Let's move. But some people want to go slower. So maybe it's on a month-by-month basis you're making changes. Again, everything that you learn here, it's a little bit more general. You got to make it specific to what will work for you individually. You know you best. So one example of what that looked like for me was as I started my business, instead of always just working from my office at home and just sitting inside my apartment, I joined a local members club that was set up for startup companies, for entrepreneurs, and I would go and I would work from there. It put me in the environment with people who were in a similar setting, a similar mindset. I got to connect with others, network, create new opportunities, and just be in the environment and the energy of people building, of people growing and scaling and being in that energy of success. Another really simple but very powerful habit that I added in was going on a morning walk, just getting up and moving my body first thing in the morning, but not with an intense gym session. Although I've been in that phase and it was awesome. If it works for you, cool. But for me, get up, move my body, go on a walk, and then feed my mind. So at the start of every day, I was feeding my mind, listening to some of my great mentors like Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, some of the giants that I've gotten to work with, or even just listening to affirmations that I can record. I've recorded many different meditations and affirmations, listening to them as you walk, programming your mind as you're starting your day. So you're literally setting yourself up by nourishing your mind and your thoughts and your emotions for, yes, I am capable of achieving great things today. Nothing is going to stop me, right? This is my day. I am in control. This is my intention. And I would come back from those walks with this new sense of clarity, this energy, and this focus that really began to support the other habits I was putting in place. So when you start making these small changes, putting in place these new habits, even if they're tiny at first, you start to shift from pretending, from faking it till you make it, to actually believing like you're becoming, right? It's a very different energy. I'm taking action, I'm being proactive, I'm becoming the version who can live the life that I desire. And that will really help solidify that belief that it's happening, it's on its way, and it's just a matter of time until it all pops into your reality. So then the question becomes, how do you stay motivated when you feel like you're in that ever constant gap, right? When you feel like you're turning up, you're taking the action, you're doing the things, but you're still looking at your future life thinking, that feels like a million miles away. How do I stay motivated to keep doing the thing? And so what I found that really worked here is to create little moments throughout your day that re-anchor the vision that you want to create. So yes, perhaps if you want to build a freedom-based business, you might not be able to pick up and fly to Bali tomorrow and work from a really cute little tropical cafe. Or maybe you can. I have a friend who just did it a couple of months ago and had a fabulous time. But maybe that's not really relevant or present or available for you. So instead, you might think, okay, well, what would be something that could simulate that for me? Well, actually, there's a really cute local cafe here that is like Bali inspired, and they do their acai bowls and their nice smoothies, and they play the tropical music. Well, you know, I'm going to go there and I'm going to work from there. And it's going to put me into the energy of the vision I want to create. So when you feel really far from your dream life, you don't have to try and bridge the whole gap overnight. Just find a touch point, something that will connect you to it. So even if you're thinking about your dream home, okay, maybe you don't have the money to start renting it or to buy that home yet, but maybe you have an Airbnb for a weekend in a dream type home and you get to just experience what that would feel like and really soak up the energy and live into it. So find a touch point for you that will help you live into the future today. And I would actually love to hear from you in the comments and see what you come up with as your touch point on your journey to achieving whatever your big goal is right now. Now, taking these steps will really just help to anchor in that belief and strengthen it that, yes, this future reality, even though it might seem a little bit distant still, I believe it's possible. Speaking of beliefs, I want to share with you something that really hit me several years back that I know I cannot be the only person who's experienced it. So you might be thinking, is it even possible to believe in my big goals in my dream life when there's literally no evidence of it in my current reality just yet? So I remember back when I had just quit my job and I'd started my business, which, let's be honest, was really just like a very expensive hobby at the time. I was making no money. I was hemorrhaging all of this money in expenses and hiring coaches and getting my website set up and spending money on things that I definitely didn't need, but as a complete beginner, thought were essential. And so I was relying on my savings, relying on my investments that I built up to sustain a pretty moderate lifestyle, living in West London and still continuing to do all the things I was doing when I worked in corporate finance. And I was journaling, I was meditating, I was visualizing, and I still felt no closer to this vision of the life that I wanted to create when I decided to start my business. I was not getting any clients. I was not making this impact that I was desiring to make this, big splash and help other women so much. And I always remember sitting on the side of my bed one evening and just thinking to myself, am I totally delusional? Like, have I completely missed the mark on this? And that question really stopped me in my tracks because I had to ask, well, what is it that you actually believe then? And it's only then I began to unpack some of the unconscious stuff. Like logically, I wouldn't have started if I didn't think I could be successful. But unconsciously, I had a lot of fear about it. I had a lot of fear and resistance around charging myself, right? We used to charge out myself for companies, no problem when I worked for a big name brand and under the umbrella of this gigantic consulting firm. But me in myself charging for my services brought up a lot of questions around self-worth. How could I deliver? Am I worthy of this? Like it really brought to the forefront of what do I truly believe? And so it sent me on this journey, which is, really accumulated to the work that I do today. Many years later, it's what I teach inside the collective, which is my new wealth community. It's an amazing space. If you haven't checked it out yet, I'll leave the link in the description down below. Go check it out. Super supportive community, wealth conscious individuals who are really looking to up-level, upscale in their financial journey. It's an investment, I promise you, that you will reap the returns and the rewards from. But I really had to go on this journey of my own inner mindset work and realize that, look, I can get all the coaches to show me strategically what I need to do and set up the processes and the funnels and all the stuff. But if I don't believe that this is possible for me, if I don't believe that I can deliver value to my clients, if I don't believe that I am worthy of this, then it is no point going any further. And so I really had to be honest with myself and go deeper than, do you believe you can be successful? Yeah, of course. No. Do you really believe you can be successful? Do you believe this is going to happen? Then I had to sit with that in the silence and really allow all the doubts, all the fear, the anxiety, the little looks that I got when I told people I was going to start my own thing, the doubts from other people when they said, are you crazy leaving a big job like that to go out on your own? What if you fail? I had to sit with all that discomfort and process through it in order to get to a place that not only did I feel worthy, but I felt so confident and so sure that what I had to offer was extraordinary. And so for me, and perhaps for you too, shifting this belief was not a light switch. I didn't sit there on my bed that night and go, oh yeah, no, I believe, done, and move on. It was more like going to the gym and building a muscle. It was something that took daily practice. It was something that at every new level, at every increase in my prices, at every time I brought in a new client, I had to check back in and work on it. All right, what's the next level of expansion that's happening? What's this new program that you're putting out? Like, where is your belief around it? And so for you, when you think about your own expansion, whatever goal you're going for, check in. Do you believe it's available for you? Do you believe it's possible for you? And before you just go, yeah, of course, I see it on my vision board, sit with the question and journal out. All right, well, let me be honest. What are all the reasons I don't think it's possible? Be honest with yourself, right? And I know when we're talking about manifestation, some people got really hung up on like, you can't say anything negative because then you're going to manifest negative. No, if it's in you, if that trash, if that garbage thought, belief, energy is in you, that emotion's in you, that is where you're manifesting from. Because we're not manifesting from our conscious thoughts. So we need to bring awareness to them, even if it's uncomfortable for a moment, even if we have to sit in the discomfort and go, yeah, okay, well, I don't believe. And then we got to pull it out, right? This is like breath work, the tapping, the nervous system regulation. Or we can do some NLP work too here, right? Mindset rewiring. But we got to call it out and rip it out and then replace it with what we truly want to believe, right? So don't bypass this. Don't be like those people who are like, no, just let me stick a happy signal on the flashing red light in my car and everything will be fine. No, there's still an issue there. There's still something under the surface. Let's just bring awareness to it and get rid of it. And then you can move forward because we don't manifest from the little smiley sticker. We manifest from what's inside. So a great way to support you as you're building up this new belief, especially if it's something very new and way out of your comfort zone, which chances are it is to keep a belief tracker. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I used to do it back then. I've started doing it again right now as I'm in the process of manifesting some pretty wild things that are very out there, and I'm in the process of normalizing them, making them feel small, making them feel very accessible and just very normal, right? Because if we make it feel big, our brain is like, that's impossible for us. We got to normalize it. We got to make it feel very, very easy for us. And so I'm keeping this belief tracker in my journal, and it's literally every day I'm just writing down one thing I did today moving towards my goal. And so it's reminding me that I'm taking this action, I'm aligning with this goal, and that yes, it is coming, right? So try this too. Keep a little belief tracker. Keep what you're doing every day, something action you're taking, something you're doing to align towards your goal. It could be also listening to my meditation, which is also about shifting your identity, shifting in and tuning into this next reality for yourself. Really, really powerful meditation that I'll link down below. That could be one of the practices that you're doing. I listened to the meditation. I really got connected to the vision of what I want to create. And for 10, 15 minutes, I just lived into that future reality now, and it felt euphoric, ecstatic. And so that brings us to one of the most important places, which is how do you continue to move forward and take action without feeling like you're being a fraud or a fake or feeling really overwhelmed by the journey ahead of you. And so what this comes down to is taking steps, not leaps. So yes, eventually you've got to jump, but maybe right now if your desire is to start a business, maybe don't go into work tomorrow and quit. Maybe you start researching, maybe you start putting together a cute little Pinterest board, of ideas and inspiration. Maybe you start putting together your business plan. Maybe you start following people who are in the niche that you want to be in on Instagram and having a separate Instagram account just for that niche. And then every day you can tune in what's happening in the market. What do I like? What don't I like? How do I want to be in my business? Maybe just taking this next step, because so often I see people making their next step seem so big that they don't take it. They want to start the course, but they feel that they need to know step 7 before they even start with step 1. Let's take the next step, figure out what that is for you, and then take little step after little step, and it will build momentum, and you'll build the courage, and you'll build that muscle so that you can eventually leap, but you'll have the wings at least partially built, so it's not a hard landing for you. And now here's the moment that it really clicked for me. So I looked around my life, and yes, I began to see small changes happening, little breadcrumbs as I describe them, of the manifestation coming into form. Because I always think if you can see your manifestation, you can see the vision, it's there in the spiritual realm, in an unformed, vibrational frequency. It's just there in energy form, but I can see it. So it exists. And I think of the breadcrumbs almost like these raindrops. And it's as this vision is moving from the spiritual realm down into the physical realm through the different gradients, it's like spilling down these little breadcrumbs or these little raindrops. And I begin to notice in my 3D reality, little signs, little pieces of evidence of, it's coming. It hasn't fully landed yet into full physical form, but it's on the way, it's coming. And that keeps me very motivated and going. But what I really did here was, okay, it's starting to come. I can see the breadcrumbs, but I want things to shift faster. I want the change to happen even quicker. And so I went back to that 360 audit. But this time I was a lot more cutthroat with it. I really began to audit and not just make little changes, but bigger changes. Okay, who in my life is no longer supporting the reality that I want to create? Who are the negative Nancys that anytime I talk to, sure, they're nice people, nothing wrong with them, but it's always negative conversation. They always have something to complain about. They always have some issue that they're bringing to the table. And anytime you talk about yourself or you want to share what you're doing or you're excited about, they just have something to say bad about it, or their energy sucks around it, or they're just giving you that look that you go, right, I probably shouldn't have even opened my mouth. Those people, sorry, gone, right? And it might sound really cutthroat, but I guess it kind of was, because I am very cautious and very protective of who I allow in my direct environment. I have a very small, intimate group of friends that I love and adore. I am not someone who has hundreds of acquaintances, right? I have a really select, beautiful group of people in my life that I love and adore. And so some of those people just had to go. They no longer were aligned with my life. And as you start to shift and you start to elevate to a different frequency, oftentimes they naturally just fall away anyway, because you're no longer meeting at that same frequency. Another thing was my habits. I had made these awesome improvements, like my morning walk, for example, and listening to these meditations. But at nighttime, I was still collapsing on the couch at 10 p.m. and watching a load of Netflix and then eating food late and then going to bed late. And then I was just not feeling my best every morning, right? So that needed to go. That was something I was like, it's comforting, it feels nice, I love it to an extent, but it's not good for me and I know that. So come on, enough playing around. How much does your future reality matter to you? Then let it go. And then I started making investments that honestly terrified me. So I remember working with an incredible speaker coach. Now I was someone who, grew up as a kid, I was on stage and performing and all that, but very different experience from learning a script and standing on stage with your cast to actually standing on a stage on your own and speaking from the heart, speaking for what you know. And so I worked with a speaking coach, and I always remember when he said, I think I was day 2 into the training, I have an event coming up in 7 days. I want you to come speak at it. There'll be 1,000 people. And it literally sent the fear of God into me. I was like sweating internally and shaking. And I just said, yes, I'll be there. Everything in me wanted to run away. Say no, hide, procrastinate, find an excuse. Say, oh God, I have a cough all of a sudden. I just don't think I'm ready. Maybe next time I'll be more prepared. All the excuses came up. And this is where nervous system regulation is so important, because it matters when you're going for a big financial goal, but it matters at every time you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. Nervous system regulation, EFT tapping, breath work, tapped through it, got prepared, stood on stage, felt all the fear, felt the dry mouth, all of it come up. And I still stood there and I delivered, and I got a standing ovation from 1,000 people. And that feeling in that moment from sharing my story about my journey from working in corporate finance, the inequality that I saw, the reason that was a catalyst for me to start my business, and the impact that I'm making today for really women everywhere and so many people, got a standing ovation. And that feeling shifted everything for me. It absolutely catapulted me forward in my business. And so saying yes to the opportunities that feel scary, continuously doing it. And all of a sudden it's like, it's not that scary anymore. I've stood on many stages ever since. And there's always a little bit of nerve, sure, but it doesn't feel scary. It feels exciting. And I choose to see the nerves as a sign of amazing. I'm pushing myself outside my comfort zone. This is awesome. I get to do this. I don't have to, but I get to experience this. What a thrill to feel this adrenaline. I feel alive. It means I'm pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. So don't always mistake those feelings of worry and, this feels a bit scary as a negative sign. It can also be you're going in the right direction. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to love the next video here, so be sure to check it out. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our community. We are new, we are growing, and I get so excited and appreciate and send gratitude to every single one of you when you subscribe and you leave a comment. It means so much to me. Thank you so much as always for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one.